welcome to Kaunas! We are in Lithuania's second city and we're gonna explore this city with the help of this map. Let's go!
If you want to know more about Kaunas, just visit the tourist information and get this book. The name doesn't really explain contemporary Kaunas, but actually this book explains the story behind the sites that we visited. So it's a nice guide for us to know a bit more about the story behind each places that we see.
Now we are in the main square of Kaunas. It's a really spacious square with a lot of cafes, restaurants and historical buildings around it. The white building over there is the Kaunas City Hall, which houses the Tourist Information Office and also a museum. Thus, you can see a lot of things in the Kaunas City Hall Square and be sure not to miss it. This is a nice riverside area by the old town. You can just relax, looking at the view of the river and just chill.
This is one of the oldest churches in the city.
This is the Vytautas the Great Church. It was built in the year 1400 and it has a really beautiful brick design. Another beautiful church that you can visit is the Francis Xavier Church right at the Old Town Square. However, the crown jewel of all must be the Kaunas Cathedral. It is the largest Gothic church in Lithuania. You just have to enter this cathedral. You can do it for free and the interior is very beautiful. The cathedral is quite old already, dating back from the 15th century. This cathedral is definitely one of the highlights of Kaunas and don't miss it. Next to the cathedral, you can find the Vilnius Street. This is a very popular street full of cafes, bars and restaurants. This fully pedestrianized street is definitely the beating heart of the old town of Kaunas. If you keep walking through the Vilnius Street, you'll end up at the liveliest avenue. It runs for almost 2 kilometers long and it is the most popular avenue in the new town of Kaunas. You can have a very pleasant walk through this very nice avenue. It's spacious, comfortable, modern, clean. At the end of the avenue, you can find the St. Michael's the Archangel's Church. It is a massive 19th century Byzantine style church. Back in the old town, you can find one of the most popular sites in Kaunas, the Kaunas Castle. The castle used to have 4 towers, but now only one of the 4 remains. You can get a really nice view from the tower. Today, the tower houses an art gallery which you can visit.
This is the monument of Pope John Paul II that came to Kaunas in 1993.
Now we're heading to the confluence of River Neris and Nemunas at the edge of the Kaunas Old Town. Here to the right side we have River Neris and on the left we have River Nemunas. And they meet somewhere over there at the edge of this strip. It is a very nice place to visit on a good day like this. It is a very nice open air part of the city with sandy beach so close to the old town of Kaunas. We are heading to
Kaunas 9th Fort! Let's go!
If there's only one museum you can visit in Kaunas, this should be it.
We are now in the 9th Fort Museum. It costs us €3 per person to enter this museum. So now we are going to learn a bit more about the Lithuanian history.
In this museum, you can learn about the first and second Soviet occupation of Lithuania. There's also an exhibition about Lithuanians that were transported to the Nazi concentration camp. We could see that the Lithuanians endured a lot of hardships, first under the Soviet and then Nazi and then back under the Soviet. But the museum finished with a positive note about the Lithuanian independence. And how was the museum?
It's dark.
It's really talking a lot about the Soviet and Nazi occupation of Lithuania. But it has a happy ending that Lithuania finally achieved freedom and now it's part of the EU.
The €3 that we paid for the museum also allowed us to enter the fortress.
Inside the fort itself, you can find an exhibition about the history of the fortress. There were actually a number of forts built around Kaunas, but the 9th fort is the most well preserved and the one that you can visit. At one point during the history of the fort, it was actually converted into a prison. You can see the terrible condition of the prison cells back in the days. It is definitely a very interesting and informative place to visit.
In this place, there were at least 30,000 Jews killed by the Nazis. So these monuments here were built to commemorate their deaths. This huge monument is to commemorate the victims of Nazism.
This massive memorial stands at 32 meters high and was built in 1984. It's truly awe-inspiring. But before we leave Kaunas, let's try the local food. So we are in Etnodvaras, one of the traditional Lithuanian restaurant in Kaunas, and Temi ordered an apteki, something like that. It's a traditional fried stuffed dumplings with meat inside. Now you can attack the dish with your weapons.
Everything fried is nicer. That's the first
Whoa.
rule.
Fried potato dumpling with tastes good? Super hot. And how does the potato dumpling taste?
Super. I like it. It tastes like something in the dim sum. Hacker.
So that was our visit to Kaunas, the super hip and lively Lithuanian second city. This city is really beautiful. You can just walk around in the old town with its beautiful historical sites, or just walk along the street full of cafes and bars and just chill over there, or you can just have a walk in the park and have just chill by the river. You can even choose which river you want to see. And so we're now gonna move on to our next destination. Keep following our journey, keep following our adventure, and don't forget to subscribe.